I found this game called Echovr, and I was like, I gotta try it. And instantly fell in love with it, and now I've been playing for almost 3 years.
What was it about Echo that kept you playing?
I'm a very competitive person.
Yeah.
I love that competitive aspect. They had a whole league for it, and being that I was just like, you know what, I'm competitive, and back at the time, I'm still like level 30. I'm thinking I'm good at the game. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I wasn't as good as I thought I was. I got humbled very quickly, but it was still, I found that drive for it, and it really, I don't know, it just stuck with me, and ever since it's been sticking with me.
Hello, my name is MoneyMitch26, and if you're an Echo player like me, this guest will make you fall back in love with the game that we call Echovr. They bring a youthful coming-of-age energy. They're an engaged competitor and future champion of this VR sport. If you're into VR but perhaps not Echo, hopefully this gives you a taste of how cool of a hobby this VR sport is. If you're new in general to VR, then all you need to do is invest in a headset. They cost a fraction of the price of the smartphone you're probably watching this on right now. But this guest, they're super passionate about the game, and they have a contagious excitement for the future. Please welcome ZeGunslinger. Let's get into it. My name is MoneyMitch26, and welcome to Top of the Pop IRL, in real life. Right now we're in Toronto, and the reason I'm doing this is because I'm at the, what's it officially called?
Toronto North.
Echo North,
yeah.
LAN.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. I've flown a long way to get here, and I also have a guest who flew a long way.
Hello.
As well. This
Yeah.
is, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm ZeGunslinger, and flying all the way from Alaska to get here. So it's been a journey so far, but I'm glad to be here, Mitch, and thank you for inviting me on.
Thank you for coming on. This is a first for me to do it in real life. Like it's just more intense.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're feeling about it.
But I don't know. I've had a couple, I guess, interviews and whatnot throughout my life, and 2CQ kind of got me prepared for it on Mondays. So even though it was virtual webcam still, but it's all right. We'll
Nice.
figure it out as we go.
Nice. Because what I try and do with this, so it's called Top of the Pop, and I pick like a really quiet corner of the arena, and it's a place where we can normally it's all exciting and there's all other players in the arena and there's stuff going on. With Top of the Pop, I like to keep it calm, just two people in the arena, and we just talk. And it's a chance to have those kind of conversations you can't really have when you're in competitive play. So, I'm just kind of rambling right now, but we'll get into it. How'd you get into Echo?
So I got into Echo back in the start of 2020, whenever the pandemic was really hitting and taking off.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine introduced me. He's like, dude, you gotta come try my Quest. It's back when Quest 1 just came out too. So I'm like, dude, I've always wanted to try it. Beat Saber, all those games. And I'm like, yeah, I totally want to come over. So I went over, fell in love instantly. Literally after I left his house, went online, ordered a Quest 1. Took it like 2 months to get here because manufacturing was all slow and whatnot there. But so I ordered one, came in, and then buddy was like, I found this game called Echovr, and I was like, I gotta try it, and instantly fell in love with it, and now I've been playing for almost 3 years.
So Echo was your first VR game experience?
First real dive in VR game experience that I put a lot of effort into. So yeah, and now it's the only game I put effort into. So. But yeah.
What was it about Echo that kept you playing? Because most people pick the game up, play some pubs, maybe get addicted to it, play a few games, and then they're like, no, I don't really need this. I've got other things to do.
I'm a very competitive person.
Yeah.
I love that competitive aspect. So when I found that game, and then seeing that they had a whole league for it, and being that I was just like, you know what, I'm competitive, and back at the time, I'm still like level 30. I'm thinking I'm good at the game. I'm like, yeah. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't as good as I thought I was. I got humbled very quickly, but it was still, I found that drive for it, and it really, I don't know, it just stuck with me, and ever since it's been sticking with me. So. And
you are very good at the game. I'm telling you, because the first time I met you, I was running a coaching session on Tyro, and you either pinged me directly or you sent it somewhere else. Like, hey, can I come assist, coach? Kind of nervously, can I come join? And you came, and you were just very good. I was like, oh wow, okay.
Oh man, well,
this
thank
guy
you.
could easily become a coach if he wanted to.
Thank you. That's flattering. I set my expectations low for myself to give myself that kind of a. Well, I set them high for myself, but I try to keep myself humbled, because that way I always have room to improve. But it's funny, you know, people say that all the time. Like, dude, you're so good at the game. You're so good at the game. And I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm just an average player. You know, somebody that, you know, has been playing for a long time, knows how to place shots. You know, shoot those long shots and shoot them fast and accurately. I wouldn't say accurate all the time, but yeah, and you know, obviously just the game awareness and IQ and game sense. So it comes with time. It comes with a lot of effort. So, but yeah.
And have you always played on teams as well, or?
For the most part, back in season 4, I want to say it was season 3.
What season did you start playing?
Season 2.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
Quest 1.
Yep. So season 2, start of season 2, right after like season 1 ended or just ended a couple months ago, but yeah, season 2 or 3, I dropped. No, season 3 it was. I want to say maybe season 4. I can't remember. It feels like it's all just bundled up now.
Yeah, it just merges.
Yeah. But I want to say it was season 4, early season 4, maybe late season 4. I popped off of teams and just league subbed for a little bit because I was just losing my competitive drive, and so I took a step back and, you know, gave myself a break from the game and, you know, stepped into just the league sub spot, and then left for my military training, and then I came back and I've just been hitting Echo hard ever since because I was like, yeah, I don't want to ever miss 3 months of Echo ever again. So yeah, it's been a time, and I've absolutely enjoyed every team I've played on so far. So
military training, like, how does that work? So you do like 3 months of it,
right? So yeah, so I went down to Lackland, Texas for it, Lackland Air Force Base in Texas, and you do 3 months of just basic training, and then after that you leave and you go to your technical training, which is kind of just your job training, so more targeted towards a certain job. So I work on support equipment for jets, fighter jets and whatnot. So kind of just, you know, what powers the aircraft, what provides air and whatnot, and that's what I went to go study for. So basically throughout that entire time, I still played while I was in my technical training. And just, you know, it was hard to play, but I made it work. My roommates hated me for it because I'd be slinging my arms around and, you know, they'd be dodging. I'm like, sorry, I didn't mean, you know, I punched them once or twice. I'm like, sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. And they're like, you better not have. And I'm like, I'm sorry. So, but no, now that I'm out of all that, I'm now back in just kind of like a normal life. I mean, just a normal job, 6:30 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And, you know, after that, I'm free. So
how old are you at the moment?
I'm 20.
20,
Yep.
okay.
So, still very young, off the chopping block. Joined straight out of high school. So, but yeah.
What did you play any other sports in high school?
Yeah, I played basketball for most of my life actually, and you know, I don't have the frame for it at all. I'm very skinny. It's hard for me to gain weight. So very skinny. But yeah, I played high school basketball, made the team and whatnot, and then just. I lost the passion for it. Been playing for so long, and I knew I wasn't going to go anywhere realistically in a realistic sense because of just
when you had passion. What was that for basketball, or was it more just hobby? Right, your mates
more just hobby, and I was enjoying it. You know,
yeah.
I was playing with friends. I was on teams with friends, and then joining high school basketball. I actually my freshman year, I was going to one high school, and that one shut down. So I changed my sophomore year. And I didn't know anybody, so I was going through a really rough time in my life because I didn't know anybody, but I wanted to try to get more social. So I joined the basketball team, or made the basketball team, I should say. And then 3 months later, I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. I'm just gonna quit. So, and do I regret it? In a sense, yes, but at the same time, it opened way more paths for me, in a realistic sense. Because if I was so focused on that, I wouldn't have been able to work. You know, after I quit basketball, I picked up 2 jobs and was making a really nice steady income at the age of 18, and so that was it was really nice, and it was it wasn't much, but it was enough for me to actually go do stuff with friends and hang out. So
whereabouts are you originally? Because you're in Alaska at the moment,
right?
But where are you originally from?
So I'm originally from North Carolina, down in the States. So. More on the East Coast there, middle ground. So it's kind of like the California of the East Coast because it's right directly across from it is what we call it. So yeah, that's where I'm originally from. And
right. And is it pretty common? So where you grew up, the people you were around, your family, is it quite common to follow that military?
Typically, yes.
life?
Yeah, so North Carolina is a very military, like, proud state. That's something they pride themselves on. It's literally is the first state sign you see is home of the it's like home of the military and home of the military spirit, something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it's been so long since I've seen it. But yeah, that's North Carolina's thing. And I had my parents and my dad and my grandfather and his grandfather, or his dad, grew up on going through military. So that's kind of also another persuasion for me as well.
So how does Echo fit into that, having a competitive hobby? Or is it like, what are you doing? What's this game you're playing?
It doesn't in a sense of a normal life. Okay. I make it work for me because I still have so much drive for the game, still so much love. There's times where it's very challenging. There's 3 shifts for my job. It's mid shift, day shift, and swing shift. And I was on swing shift most of season 5, and for then I was literally having to play on my lunchtime. So I would leave work, I'd go home, pop in my headset real quick. If I had a bite to eat, I'd literally be eating it while I'm warming up, and then I'd play the game.
By the way, is this right in your eyes?
It is, but
sort that out.
But I'm not gonna fret over it too much. I woke up to sun right in my eyes this morning. That's better.
Fair? Yeah.
I appreciate it.
No worries.
I was bearing through it, and I was
you should have just said.
It's all good. It's all good. Keep it in the bit. Oh man. So, but it was tough. It can be tough to fit it into a normal schedule like that, especially being already 4 hours behind everybody, especially on the East Coast.
Interesting. What? Because of Alaska.
Yeah.
So Alaska, is it the same time zone? This is a European question.
Go ahead.
I don't know. Is Alaska the same time zone as California?
No, so it's actually 1 hour behind Cali.
One.
Yeah.
Right.
So
so you're really far away from all the East Coast players.
Yeah. So it's a struggle because there's no servers in Alaska. So
what's your average ping?
100.
On a West Coast server.
On a West Coast 70, on a Central 100, on a East Coast 120. I saw 20 ping for the first time last night in almost 8 months, and I was like, "This is great." And I was regrabbing that, and I was like, I want this. Like, how much do I need to pay for this? Bring me the bill right now, and I'll make it happen. And it was amazing. So, but yeah, it can be a struggle, and props to my teammates for bearing with me through it, because it can be a lot. So,
it's an issue that's unique to esports, and it's interesting how it plays out in VR sports.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that on basketball.
Yeah, no.
If someone blocks you, they block you.
Yeah.
If it goes in the hoop, it goes in the hoop. There's no oh no, but it went in before it registered your hand saving it.
You can't get Chicago'd in basketball.
You can't, no.
Can't get 50'd in basketball. You can get 50, but not in a game sense you get latency and ping and obviously there is the latency difference between CV1 and Quest 2, and it throws off games, but unfortunately you can't, there's nothing you can do about that because everybody doesn't have the capabilities to play on a Quest 2 or the ability to play on a Quest 1,
There's a difference in I didn't know this, between the different headsets.
Yeah, it's very minor. But I was talking to Rad Natalie about it actually at last LAN, and she didn't really go into it too much, but she was like, yeah, there is a slight difference in headset latency, and Quest tends to win those 50s more a lot. If it's ping based, if say the player's on the same ping, 30 to 30, it's going to be more opposed to if it's a CV1 player versus a Quest 2 player, it's going to be the Quest 2 player that wins it.
Right. But the margin.
Very slim, but most of the time it always comes out to the Quest 2 player.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's
And you're on Quest 2 now?
Playing here, yeah. I'm on CV1 back home, so.
Okay.
Pay to win, I guess. What everybody says.
That is interesting that a headset which is now 6 years old, going on 7 years old, is still being used because of its competitive advantages.
Yep. It's I love it. I also do a lot of outside of Echo too, in terms of VR space and VR development and
VR space.
Yeah. So it's I don't want to ramble too much. So if I
that's fine.
ramble too much, just let me know. I'm actually working on I was telling Luke about it last night. I'm working on a project right now with some friends that are we're working towards a nonprofit mental health organization that can be used inside of VR. And we want to give people the opportunity to where if they're not comfortable saying going to face like we are right now, where they can do it over a screen. And if they don't want to do an avatar where it's just their voice projecting, we want to be able to give them that. And we want to be able to take licensed therapists and make it a nonprofit for people that struggle with mental health but don't necessarily want to go in person.
So is this a way for someone to sit down with a therapist?
Yes.
Without being in the same room?
Yes.
Okay. It's not like a social anxiety thing?
No.
Okay.
It can be, though. If people say struggle with social anxiety and find it easier to communicate through a headset, because I struggle with social anxiety myself. I've gotten a lot better about it. Echo has really tuned my social skills. But for some people that maybe don't play competitive games like Echo or any other game, for example, it doesn't have to just be Echo. It can be any game inside of virtual reality, even outside. Some people just struggle with social skills, and that's okay. It's normal. It's not everybody's going to be perfect at it. Some people are just more confident than others, and some people just are able to put themselves out there more, and that's totally fine. You don't got to be the most perfect person to do that. But yeah, it allows people to give themselves a chance to meet with a therapist without necessarily having to, go to a physical space. And obviously there's, over the phone call and stuff like that. I just feel like in a VR space, then avatars, even if you don't have an avatar yourself, even if you're just seeing the therapist's avatar, it helps you feel more connected to that person. You kind of get a sense of like what they're like and how they are, and I think that's important in therapy especially. So that's something that I can attest to myself. I've gone through therapy. I've struggled with mental health, and that's something I'm willingly open to talk about with anybody. And if they need help or advice, I'm not licensed or anything, but I'm willing to give you advice that's helped me out in my path and my struggle through life. So yeah,
that's awesome.
So
is that something that you want to go into, or you're thinking about going into, which is being a therapist or helping people in some manner?
I've thought about it. I love putting my goal a day is putting a smile on somebody's face. That's every day I wake up and I'm like, all right, I want to put a smile on somebody's face because that makes me feel good about myself. Through Echo, if I can hear them just laugh genuinely, not just like that little haha, that actual genuine laugh, that brings a person out and allows you to see their true side. That's my goal. Every day in life is to make somebody's day just a little bit better. But at the same time, I feel like I want to get licensed in the sense where I know how to handle situations, but I don't want to do it full time because I feel like that can be really mentally draining. And I've experienced that myself, being a person that doesn't really like to talk about themselves too much, especially regarding my mental health and just other things about myself. It can be draining to hear a lot of other people's stories after a while. Yeah. But you've become that person for people that people need, and so you keep doing it. But after a while, it all bundles up, and that's it's okay. But you need to realize when it's not okay, and you need to take time for yourself. And I don't think I'd be able to realize that because I'd be too focused on helping people.
Have you experienced this already? Where you go out your way to help people, and then you have to step back a little bit, work on yourself, or take time for yourself.
Yeah, there's definitely times where I've seen it, and even throughout the year, this year it's happened to me too. But there's times where I'm like, okay, I've become a person to where I can realize where I need to take my mental health a priority, when I need to take it a priority, and when I can take a step back and help others. And that's okay for a person to do. If a person gets mad at you for taking a step back on yourself when you're helping them, it's not their fault. You're not necessarily a licensed therapist. You're there just to be a friend and an open ear. So, and I've had people do that to me, and it really sucks because you don't know what to do because they're your friend, but at the same time you need to give yourself the space and give yourself the room to breathe. And it can be tough, but learning that balance is very important. So.
And how do you do that for yourself? Like some people use meditation, some people have other means to get grounded in themselves.
So, and I promise this is not for the podcast. Echo. I really use Echo. That's where I just let out the stress of my day. Even if it's just hopping into a private arena and throwing for 10, 15 minutes listening to some music. that really just allows me to reground myself. There's times where if I don't do that before a game, it bleeds into the game, and it can be really harmful to the team because mental is so important in Echo, and it can really hurt a team if one person's mental is just off. So, but Echo is my stress reliever, and that's my go-to game, and probably over 2,000 hours logged in it. Probably more. God knows how many. If I put Quest and CB1 together, it's probably over that. But yeah, Echo is my go-to.
How many? Have you been a captain?
Yep.
Are you captain at the moment?
Not at the moment. Season 2 was and Season 5. So Season 2, I ran a team called Alpha Protocol. Love that team. It was my baby. And met some of my best friends off of Echo right then and there. And unfortunately we don't talk as much anymore, but that's just life. One of them's a sous chef in a restaurant now, and one of them's just doing his life and working and living and going to school. So and I'm so busy myself and already with balancing VRML and NEPA and VRAL and all these other things, also trying to cast on top of it, and it can be a lot. So my evenings are always pretty busy. And then Season 5, I ran a team called VRZaida, which was a spin-off of Alpha Protocol. The logos were pretty similar in a sense, but they were changed up in an aspect, and gave me a chance to redo it. I can't lie, I hate being a captain because I hate dealing with children that don't want to take the game as seriously as I do. And I get it, not everybody has to take it as seriously, but at least be somewhat reasonable whenever we're scheduling a match. Don't just be a goof and piss off. So
I've got like 3 questions racked up in my head, but I'll ask one off that. So scheduling. So I mentioned this on a cast. There was like 5 people watching. So I don't know if you've seen what I do for casting. So I'm on the VRML casting team now. I'm going to be casting this weekend.
Awesome.
But to practice, I just started a Twitch channel and just started casting games. Yeah. Message people. You have a match in an hour. Do you want it casted unofficial? Yes. Sweet. So I do it and I just practice speaking. Yeah. Just talking. Because similar to you, I grew up. I'm assuming you grew up very shy. Yeah. Well, I'm putting words into your mouth, but I did. I was really quiet. I was
very shy. Yes.
So I use it as a place to practice speaking. Just use my voice, blah, 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 get the words out. Yeah. So I just started casting, and one of them, why am I saying this? Oh, scheduling. I thought, why do we schedule our own times for matches? Why don't we just say, okay, Tuesday night between 7 and 9, that's when you play your matches. You have 2 matches to play this week. Which one are you playing at 7? Which one are you playing at 8? Like that kind of thing. Yeah. Why is it? Like, what do you think about the idea? Is that something you thought about? Should there be like you play on Tuesday?
Yeah, I've thought about it, and it's interesting because we've ran into times where teams cannot do at all that week, and I'm like, why didn't you just go inactive? I get life happens, situations happen, okay, but there's teams I've seen that have been like unavailable multiple times in a row for weeks on end, and I'm like, why even? You're just giving teams free MMR at this point, which is, it's whatever, but at the same time, it hurts the ladder system, and the ladder system's been very wonky this season. I'm not sure how it is over there in the EU, but for NA, it's been rough. I've hit Diamond twice this season, and I've also hit Gold twice this season.
And you're saying that's what forfeits are affecting that, or?
It's forfeits. It's people playing 3v4s. Like we've had matches where my team is really relatively available. We run a 6-man roster and everybody fits in really well. Yeah. No matter where, if say I wasn't there, somebody can easily step in and fill the shoes. Right. If Maddie wasn't there, our captain, somebody could easily fill in and step her shoes. We all really feed off each other really well. And that's something really important, but our availability is so open that we don't really struggle with this. So we always have a 4-man roster, but we've had teams play at 3v4 against us. And it's practically an easy win. I'm not trying to call these players bad, but when you're able to just run a man coverage and have one person just take it into the bubble every time, sure, it's going to be an easy match. And that's something I've considered about the scheduling is, it needs to be I think having those set times, obviously if there's issues, things come up last minute. Totally understand. That can be scheduled with the mods. That can be talked with the mods. But I've thought about, you know, maybe like Tuesdays and Thursdays are doing like a Wednesday and Saturday thing. That way you don't have to play them both in the same. You can play them both in the same night if both teams want to, but if both teams can't do, you know, the same night, say, hey, Saturday works for us. Okay, Saturday works for us too. Let's do that. Or hey, Wednesday only works for us. Okay, we've got availability on Wednesday and Saturday. That way people know, hey, I need to set a time aside for this on these nights. That way, it's more of opposed to your captain. Hey, we have these times available. Okay, what does this work for you guys? Let me ask my team to double check, but that should work. I don't want to give you confirmation though. So you go in, actually, no, we only have 3 at that time, sorry. And so it comes in to be a constant issue. And I've seen it multiple times this season. And it really messes with the MMR because people are getting forfeits and shooting way up there. You know, and it's only 20-0 now. It's 10-0, 10-0. But I feel like when it was 20-0, 20-0, the margin difference for MMR was so much better. You weren't shooting way up. Like, I'd say my team is roughly around high plat. Like, I feel like that's where we sit confidently. Pushing low diamond for all playing really well. But right now we're sitting at gold 4 because we've been matched up against teams that have either reformed. Like, we played the neighbors, Jay Walker's new team.
Okay.
When it was their first week formed. They were sitting at bronze and are to be determined MMR, but there was no way that was a fair matchup for us. We got absolutely mercied on, and I think it runs into an issues with really reflecting on the MMR and the ladder.
How does NEPA work?
How does NEPA
of
work?
MMR and
It's by a win base
table.
and point difference, so kind of same thing but it's not in MMR sense. It's literally, hey, if for example, a team is 10-4, team A is 10-4, 10 wins, 4 losses this season.
Right.
They have a point differential of 96 points. But team B has won 10-4 as well, but have a point differential of 110 points. Team B would be first place. Team A would be second place. So it's more just straightforward. It's kind of like how our master ladder is. Yeah, that's how that works. So NEPA's interesting. I like it.
You're on NEPA, right?
I'm a caster for them, and
okay, nice.
I'm in the scouts as well for them. I literally got invited to do a cast like 30 minutes before they even started. They were like, hey, we need somebody to fill. A good buddy of mine, Muted Monster, was like, hey, we need somebody to fill the co-host of this cast. And I referred you to Nails, and he's like, fine to have you. And so got invited on, and they absolutely loved me and came on the team with them. I am working on applying for the VRML team. Luke swears up and down he does not have an application from me, but I swear up and down I put an application in, and he just didn't message me back because he is a butt. I hope he sees that. Oh no, all love to him though. We were talking about it last night. He's like, oh, I just resubmitted, and I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll do it. But yeah, I'm working on getting VRML casting right now. I really wanted to cast this weekend with you guys, but I wasn't able to get clearance from Pally on it. So. It is what it is.
Despite being a NEPA caster.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I have plenty of casts to show that I'm like, actually, I say a half decent caster. People really enjoy. I always get messages after like my cast are like, dude, your casting's awesome. Like, do more of it. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. Like, I'll do it when I have the free time.
For me, that's a really big part of it.
Yeah.
Is the messages I get. So especially in the EU scene, the bar for entry for casting. I say that to everyone, even if am I in shot. I say it to everyone, the bar for casting is so low. Just because right now it's Retip who occasionally does it. Retip.
Yeah.
There was a couple of others as well that are very casters, but they're all just retiring. They're all just moving on, doing whatever, like life, school, whatever. The bar is so low. All you have to do is be able to talk in front of a camera and you can cast. The bar is so low. But the reason a big reason to keep doing it is the appreciation you get.
Oh yeah.
Because people go into these games, they're stressed. They want to win the game. The other team are stressed. They want to win the game. One of them wins, one of them loses. So the one that lost is like stressed. Oh, we should have won that. The one that won, we should have won that by more. So you've got 8 people that are stressed out of their mind. If I can then provide them something to watch afterwards, and they're like, oh, that's kind of fun, and like bring a bit of energy to it, it It just brings a bit more life to the game.
Yeah.
Rather than like this really stressful event where half the time they're going to lose anyway.
Yeah. It definitely helps. We've been casted once this season, and it wasn't even an official cast.
No.
We just had it was one of the casting communities, not VRBM, but there's another one. VR Community Casters, I think it was.
Okay.
But they casted it, and it was actually against our sister team for Disorient, Gambit, and we're Disorient Elemental, and we got matched up against each other, so we played it, and they unfortunately took home the win, but it was a really good game, and I was like really hoping, you know, to have that on the VRML channel, because I feel like that's the content that people look for, you know, those back and forth games. I mean, it was down to the wire right at the last second, you know, like I think round 2 we put in a 3 right at like the buzzer, and it sent us to a round 3. And then round 3 they answer right back with a 3 of their own right at the buzzer, and I'm like, dude, this action-paced games, like I couldn't really be mad because, you know, like I couldn't really hang my head low. Obviously, you know, you hang your head low on losses, you know, it happens, but I couldn't really be mad because it was such a good game, and I had so much fun. My team was playing really well, you know, and afterwards, you know, we already knew everybody, so it was just really good vibes. Everybody was, you know, great games, and we were just hanging out. But yeah, I love doing casts, and I love being able to bring that energy to people that, you know, even if they don't get it, you know, I love doing bronze teams and silver teams and gold teams because they don't necessarily get all the recognition that they should. Even, you know, they're lower, but they're still players to our game. Nonetheless, so why not give them the appreciation and show them thank you for being here? So,
when was your first cast? And one sec, I just need to check the clock.
No worries.
So we don't run over. When was your first cast? Do you remember it?
Yeah, it was, I think where I really fell in love with casting was I did a tournament back in 2 months ago, I think, 3 months ago. It was with Disorient. We did a Echo tournament, and we got all these prizes. We got like actual trophies. We did a Stereon gift cards to everybody, but the top prize for the captain of the top team was it was a 3D printed Echo disc. So, and that had a lot of love by the community. But that's where I sat down with Queen. I'm sure you know Queen.
Yeah.
I
met her in Tyro Lan in Atlanta.
Yeah. She's awesome. I love her. And sat down with Queen, and she was casting with me. And first day was really rough because I was overseeing the entire tournament as well. So I'm also casting while also helping teams like get into games and, you know, do what they need to do. And, you know, I'm like hardly attentive to the actual cast, but Queen's like holding it down for me. But day 2, when I was able to actually focus more on the cast, because at this point the teams that really knew kind of what they're doing, have been in tournaments before, and have been in these you know, double elimination kind of final aspects, were there, and they knew what they were doing. So, you know, was able to actually focus on it. And she was like, "Dude, why don't you start casting more often?" So that's where I did. I sat down, and I have a Twitch channel, so I got some assets together, made some basic stuff, and then just popped it on a stream and started casting, and it was a blast. It was absolutely so fun. You know, even if it's just myself, you know, I love just sitting there reviewing the game and talking through, you know, strategies and whatnot as other teams are going through. So,
do you prefer casting solo or with someone else, co-caster?
So it depends. It depends on who I'm with, because if I feed off the energy really well of that other person, it's going to be a great cast. But I've had casts where, if it's my first cast with them and I don't know how they cast, if I've never watched their cast before, it's going to be a struggle for me because I don't know where to fit in at. I don't know how their energy is. And I bring a lot of energy when I cast. Most of the time after I do a couple games, my voice is gone. Like I try to do 2 to 3 games a night, and my voice is gone after that.
Right.
But if I feed in really well with them, I love casting with another person. If it's just me, I don't mind it. I really prefer casting with another person though, just because it makes it so much more fun. The interactions you can have with the other caster, you know, talking through the game and whatnot, it can be a lot more exciting and thrilling to watch, I think, for people. So I enjoy doing.
What makes a good cast?
It depends on who you ask. For me, though.
In your opinion. Well, looking back at your own cast, what are you like? Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Energy and play breakdown.
Player breakdown.
Player breakdown and just
play breakdown.
Like but player breakdown as well. If you know the players in the arena, and you can break them down and see, hey, that's kind of what they do normally, and it's not working for them. This team is able to shut that down, and you can see how it's affected them on the field. I think that's, but yeah, energy, play breakdown, and player breakdown, I'd say is really, it brings a really good cast. If you can just kind of keep people feeling like, if they're sitting there watching it and they're like, oh, I like this, it's upbeat, it's, it's being, it doesn't sound just kind of like, okay, Money Mitch is passing it down the field. And then he takes a shot. It's like, okay. Yeah. But it's like Money Mitch passes to his teammate there sends a cross pass over and takes the shot. That's in. There's a whole difference to that.
Completely.
And it's just about energy, really. Obviously, it's how you convey yourself too. If you sound down, if you sound just like, I don't want to be here, but I'm doing it because I feel like I have to do it, and that's no fun.
No.
If you're doing it because you want to do it, that's what makes it great.
I'm going to try and take that and tie it back to something you were talking about. I can't remember the exact words you said, but you were talking about like your mental, like as a player.
Yeah.
Your mental was like a massive part of the game. And then, so I was going to follow that up, but then we moved on to different topics about as a captain. That's what I was asking about, as a captain. Like, what was your experience there managing your own mental and then the mental of at least 3 other players as well?
It's tough. Yeah. It's tough. It's
Is
very
that something
tough.
that you think about?
Yeah. You got to take into account for, okay, how are your players playing? How am I playing? Because as a captain, you're out there to lead. You're not there to be their friend. Sure, outside of the game, yes. But in the game, in a game aspect, when you're playing the game, you're there to lead. You're there to, put the boots on and strap in to win, right? But I think keeping a good balance between captain and friend in a game sense is also really important, because if you come over too much overbearing, like, you need to do this, no, that's not how you go about it. As a person, that just doesn't work. You start telling me I need to do something, I'm just going to shut down and not want to listen to you, and I'll just start doing my own thing. You tell me, this is what I think you can be doing better, like in between, they've got the 1-minute round breaks in between in between rounds and whatnot. We always talk through things as a team. Hey, what are we doing good? What are we doing better? Is anybody doing something that they're really absolutely crushing right now, or is somebody doing something that they're just absolutely sucking and they need to, dish to this more? Totally fine. And we've come to agreement and we understand each other as a team, where nobody really gets upset at that. I can be very harsh in the way I convey things, just because that's how I've grown up. I'm just a very blunt person, straightforward, get to the point person, and some people take it as me just being a little bit of a butthole, right? But back whenever I was a captain, man, yeah, I did not take into account for the actual mental stress of that, because I knew obviously planning and scheduling was going to be tough. It's not always going to be easy, but I didn't expect to have to sit here and account for my mental, but also 1, 2, 3, 4, a full roster of other members' mental. Obviously, we had our main roster that mainly played, but we would have times where these other players would have to come in and they would have to step in and fill the shoes, and maybe their mental wasn't the best. It wasn't, they weren't just having the best day, or they necessarily weren't prepared to play that match. So it could be tough as a captain, but if you enjoy doing it and you know how to do it effectively, you can lead a team to success. And I got to give props to Maddie, because she's my current captain. She had to take up the step of subbing me out for a week, because my mental was just, I had a really rough period this past season where I just went through a really bad, just long stretch of down days, and she realized that it was feeding into the mental of the game and it was affecting us. So she was like, listen, I don't want to do it, but I need, for your sake, to get better before you come back. So I'm giving you the week off, and you're not going to play at all. If we absolutely need you, you'll play. But if not, you're going to be sat for the week. And I was like, it sucked at the time, but I got to really give kudos to her, because I don't think I'd be able to do that to a teammate of mine.
What was your reaction when she said that?
I was mad.
Yeah.
I was mad, and because it was over. We had gotten into a big argument as a team in a game, and but
that's not good.
No, it wasn't, and it was over stupid stuff too. You know, it wasn't even like big things. It just all added up. The game was going really bad, and I felt like we should have been winning, which I think that about any game. Obviously, you know, we should be winning this match no matter what the match skill gap is. But it got really bad that game, and I got, you know, back and forth between two of my teammates, and you know, I like when we finished that game, I just took my headset off. I put it on my computer, but I put it on my computer to where I put it on my desk where it sounded like I slammed it, which I didn't. It's just CV1 mic picking up everything and making it sound extremely louder than it is. And I tried to explain that to her, like, this wasn't me trying to be unnecessarily, you know, I wasn't trying to be rude or any sense. It was just me trying to convey on how we saw it, but it came off really aggressively because I was already going through some bad days, and I was just like, I just wanted to win, and we were losing, and I just hate losing. So like I said, I'm very competitive. I'm sure you'll hear me at LAN this weekend, screaming my lungs off because
I hope I hear like a lot of people shouting, so players and casters.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was like in both. I've done 2 LANs. I did Atlanta, Tyro LAN, and I've done Bournemouth in the UK. Yeah, it's loud, and I like it when it's loud. I think people should be shouting. If you're not shouting, your energy's not right.
My first LAN was NEPA LAN, and we beat a team we did not expect to beat.
Yeah.
I
lost your shit.
And I went berserk. When I tell you, everybody stopped and looked in my direction because of how loud I went. I looked and I was like, oh, sorry. But like, then I sat there and I kept going because I was just like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you're on TikTok at all.
Not enough.
Not enough. So like, I upload a lot of my personal clips on there just of Echo and whatnot. Okay. But I have a lot of my clips on there where it's just me getting really excited. And I'm like, I promise my teammates still have eardrums after they play with me. Because I feel like it's so loud to me, it's so loud because it's right there. But I know in game it obviously takes it down. But there's one clip on there where it's where we finally hit Diamond this season. And Maddie hit a 3 to clutch us the game. We already were ahead. Actually, no, we were down by 1. We were down by 1 playing the Echoholics, and Maddie hits a 3, putting us up by 2 with only like 17 seconds remaining. So by the time people got out of the tubes, it was already. I went berserk. I was like, let's go, Maddie. And I'm just like, but I feel like that's what. If somebody doesn't bring that to a team, I feel like there's. It's just stale.
Well, this is the other end of the mental management is when there's low energy, like working on that to bring it back up, but also raising the bar as well. You've got to celebrate. When things like that happen, you've got to celebrate.
Yeah, you do. But when things are not going so well, you can't. That's something that we struggle with as a team. When things are not going so well, we all kind of just shut down. We don't communicate as much.
Gone.
And I'm like trying to calm things, but I just feel like I'm getting nothing back. And we've talked about this as a team, so it's like nothing I'm worried about like, them seeing, you know. We've talked about it as a team, and it's just, we just struggle on that regard, and we've accepted it. It's not always going to be a perfect game. Not every game's going to be the absolute best game, where everybody's mental is great, everybody's, you know, shooting lights out, saving every shot, stacks are fast, but...
Even on the 70 ping.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny that you say that, because my teammates, kudos to them again, because they have learned to regrab with me on 100 ping. We could have a 70 ping difference, but they've learned how to regrab with me, and it still might not be the fastest thing, but we get down there pretty quick for me being on 100 ping and one of them being on, you know, 50 or 30 or 40, you know. So, yeah, I love my team. I talk about them a lot. They're my best friends and they're my family. So I'm excited to see them. 2 of them are here. Nate Appleton and Maddie gets in today. So I'm excited. But yeah, that's energy is huge in the arena, and I feel like people don't understand that.
If you were going to be a captain anytime soon, what would you do differently than what you did before? What would you change?
It'd be.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a tough one because I don't know. There's so many things that I feel like I did good, but there's also things that I did poorly. You know, I asked my players, you know, anytime I was a captain, you know, hey, what are you guys feeling? Like, how are you feeling about how things are going as a team? And I would listen to them, but I feel like I didn't actually change anything. So I'd want to work on that. You know, I was like, okay, yeah, we can work on that. We never did. It would just be the same.
So you'd listen, but you wouldn't actually.
Yeah, so that's something big that I want to work on, especially now that I've, you know, grown and matured as a person. But something I feel like I did really well was keeping my players, you know, like giving them, if they need a break, letting them take that break. Obviously, you know, everybody can just step away from a game. But, you know, those players, it was a really dedicated group of people. It was me, myself, Burnsy, Salty Crackers, and Mythical Wolf, which he's changed his name so many times now. I don't even know what it is anymore. But but those were my original teammates, and that was my team. You know, I tend to now, instead of like being a captain, I tend to lead more on the field because I feel like I can do that in a really good, strong sense. But you know, something I always got complimented on was, you know, allowing my players to feel like they could really come to me and, you know, open up and be just be genuine. So, yeah, that's something big.
Do you feel, how do I say this? When you're, so kind of on the same subject of the mental game, managing the mental game, when you're captain, you're partially responsible for other players as well, and it's kind of your responsibility to initiate that conversation and talk about when they might be getting stuck and then how we can bring them back up.
Yeah.
Do you find it naturally there's other stuff going on? Say they're going through school, they've got a job, a situation, say they've got family things going on.
Sure.
Do you find yourself having those conversations as well?
Yeah, and I think that's important. That comes to more of a stepping outside of the captain's spot and being a friend.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're the captain of their team, but they're still your friend, and you need to check in on them. And if they're not doing the best, go and check in on them. Ask them what's wrong. If they don't want to talk about it, offer outlets. Hey, if you need to take some games off, totally fine. Focus on yourself first. I will never tell somebody to put a video game above their actual life. Me, I'll tell myself to do it because I love Echo, but that's me. I'm not gonna ever sit here and be like, Mitch, you need to play this game. I can't have it any other way. You need to play this game. And if you're just not feeling it that day and you're like, I really don't want to play, man. Like, I just don't want to. Okay.
Why do you think people do play? I know it's a really broad question because there's different answers.
It is broad. I think
what's motivating your teammates to play?
Motivating my current teammates, or just in a general sense of teammates?
Putting yourself in this hypothetical captain. Say you're going to be captain next season for some team. Like, what are you thinking about in terms of like their motivations for sticking around and?
Right. So, a big thing I can refer this to a current situation, like our team, my current team right now, because although I'm not the captain, we talked about this as a team. You know, we've talked about, even as a recent, we talked about splitting up because we were just going down in the ranks, and we were at gold, and we were like, should we just split up, guys? Like, we're obviously not playing together as a team. Something's not going good. But you know, I sat there and I was like, listen, you guys are my best friends. We started this team. We reformed this team to play together for fun. I get it. We hit that diamond mark, and we were really feeling good. I could care less if we're master or bronze. It's you guys that I enjoy playing with, and I feel like for me personally, and as a captain, this is like season 2 was really my peak of captaining because I was with friends and we all really just enjoyed playing with each other. So we looked forward to seeing each other in the arena every day.
Every day?
We were playing almost every day. Even if it wasn't all of us, we'd still have either like we'd be pubbing or just in a private arena, just throwing around and talking. But some of my best friends I have met through Echo, and they are some of the most amazing people, and I cannot be more thankful for them enough. So seeing those, being able to have those connections and going into an arena every day with them and talking with them and just seeing how their day was going, even if it's just there in their presence, standing and talking, I enjoy that. So that's personally and what our team looks forward to currently. Last night we had a match. I skipped out on dinner with you guys to play this match. It was a hectic match, but our third round we were feeling super good. We were just laughing, having fun, and that's the moments I live for, where it's not necessarily all about the game, where you're just in the game playing, but you guys are having so much fun at the same time. So I feel like that's what can motivate a lot of people, is those memories that are there to make. VR has so many opportunities with that. So that's, at least me personally, is what I would see for people, being motivated to come back and keep playing and stay with the team and, work towards affecting team chemistry more, I guess, positively, at least in a sense.
Yeah, team chemistry is huge. Yeah. There's a EU team called Koi, Koi, like the fish.
Yeah, I've seen them.
You've seen them, yeah. Their energy is, like, they're like buds. They're really good friends, and you could tell, like, by how they message on Discord, but like hearing their voice in the arena as well, they're just like, when people are so in sync,
right?
Like, their humor, their jokes, and all their in jokes and everything, just so synced up. And it shows by the fact that the team just hasn't disbanded.
Yeah.
They stay playing together as well. It's just really cool to see from afar. So I'm going to change the subject a little bit.
No worries.
Future of Echo and future of VR in general as well. What are your thoughts in terms of, you're a young man.
Right.
You're 20. I don't know if you've thought about that. Like, do you think about when you're 25, 30, do you still want to be competing or casting or working in this way, or
I don't know.
You don't think about it too much?
I'm sitting here, like, I was thinking about this morning actually,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've put so much time and money into VR.
Yeah. You're invested.
I've traveled
for
literally for VR.
Yeah.
Sure, it's Echo related, but if other opportunities for games came up that I really fall in love with, I've tried other esports games, just nothing matches the drive of Echo that I have. But I'm not saying that there won't be. Recently I started getting into Veil, and that's a new upcoming game with esports in it.
Remind me, what's the mechanics of it? What kind of game is it?
It's a first-person shooter.
Okay, it's a shooter.
Yeah. So it's a first-person shooter, and it's super fun. I got early access to it.
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of hype around it. You're probably like the fifth person that's mentioned it in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, and it's super fun. But they just had a big esports tournament for that,
Okay.
And it was like on a professional level too. So, but seeing stuff like that and seeing like VR esports necessarily, not just esports in general, but VR esports, getting the recognition. And Dimway, if Dimway sees this, he's gonna hate me because VR esports, he calls it VR sports, and I'm just like, I agree with it in a sense for Echo, but like for other games, I don't know necessarily as much, but VR esports, I feel like it has the potential. It just doesn't have the backing yet that it needs.
The backing.
So like, obviously you see with like games with like Valorant and Overwatch and stuff like that, games that are casted in CS:GO, games that are casted on a very higher level of esports production. You got actual teams for paid teams, paid players. For people have put a lot of time and money into this, and there's investors for those teams. We don't have necessarily that.
Is NEPA a gateway to that?
I don't know.
No. Not as it is currently.
I don't think so. Where it stands as of right now, as much as I love the people over at NEPA, I don't think it's where it needs to be. They're working towards it. I know they are working towards it. And taking the step of putting on that LAN in March was a very huge step to showing, hey, we're here to stay. I mean, quote me if tell me if I'm wrong, but the last actual LAN before, like big LAN, was ESL days.
Right.
And NEPA LAN was probably one of the biggest LANs I've heard. People were like, there's a lot of people here. And
how many people? Like 200?
I think close to 300.
Oh, okay, that's big.
Yeah, and that's, and that maybe, not everybody played, but there was a lot of spectators too. And that's not including people's families that came too.
Yeah.
That's just people that from Echo. It was a big LAN. And it was a fun time, overwhelming, but it was fun. I lost my wallet there, and that's a story. But I think we're going in the right direction to where we need to be for the future of VR esports, at least. For the future of VR, though, overall, technology isn't getting better every day. Probably, we're probably not seeing it, but they're always developing some new chip or some new software that can help the headset perform better. And the future for VR, I think, is going to be the sky's the limit. However high these companies want to go that are making these headsets, that's where the limit is. We're seeing headsets with 2K resolution per eye. Now, one day it might be 8K. Shoot, there probably is an 8K headset. I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't. I don't know. I don't know why you would need it. Maybe for, high quality, production, working through a movie or something like that. But I think the future of VR has a strong potential to go somewhere if it hits the market right. And so far, we've hit the gaming aspect of it. With the Quest Pro coming out now, you're hitting more of the office side of it. So we're starting to see these aspects start to intertwine, and it's going to be interesting to see where Meta especially takes their focus. Are they going to switch to more office? Or are they going to be willing to do gaming and office? Are they going to combine the two? It's totally fine. The future of Echo, though, that's an interesting one, because a lot of players that have been known in the community for a while are starting to, and there's a new crowd coming in. So these people that you've known for a while, you no longer have Joker and Ignite. There's no longer those players formed up together. They have the neighbors now, which is like Jaywalker, I think Game, Ryan maybe, or Kung. I can't remember which one's on there, but I know one of them split up from them. And it's interesting to see. But we just seen Kangarillas reform, which was awesome to see. Love those guys. They're awesome.
Who's on Kangarillas? Is that
Strembitsky, Mad, I think Mozzie, right. And there's a couple other people, but that's a team from season 2. I saw them when I first started, and I looked up to those guys. I'm like, damn, I really want to hit that mark of master. Kangarillas, Ignite, Joker. I thought those guys were hot stuff, and I still do. Those are very inspirational players, and seeing how they play, and it's crazy seeing them play in real life too. You're like, holy cow, this is what goes into everything that they do. So if Echo, they're taking away, they're refocusing their aspect towards the actual game as opposed to cosmetics now. This is their last season pass. Whether that be because they actually want to focus towards the game, or they just are running out of ideas for cosmetics. Make that what you want it to be. But I think for the future of Echo, if the team behind it stays strong and stays committed, it's going to be a very, very strong game. And I think if they just round out the simple issues of trying to fix those Chicagos, which it's hard to fix. It's hard to fix. It's never going to be perfect. Getting stable servers are very wonky sometimes, and I think Echo can be a very.
What do you think about like the 5-10 year arc of the technology, the hardware, the actual applications that come out? Have you had thoughts about this?
Where are you talking about? Where I'm going to be at?
I meant more the industry.
The industry.
But yeah, sure. That's interesting as well.
I'll hit the industry first. For the industry, I think it's going to be. I think it's definitely going to be taken off. I think. I mean, we're already starting to we hit a really large uptick in headset sales last Christmas with the Quest 2 dropping right before Christmas. Yeah. And now you got the Quest Pro coming out for offices and whatnot. But I think we're going, as a VR industry, I think it's going down the right path. Mm-hmm. But Meta basically runs America here for headsets, and you got the Pico.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it. I know it was released very recently, right?
Yeah.
And it's pretty much direct competitor with Quest 2.
Yeah. It's, I don't know much about it either, so I can't really attest to too much of what it is. But you know, you got the Pico, and I don't know. Apple's trying to, you know, get into mixed reality and VR and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting to see all these companies that try to come out and do something. You know, you got Samsung that's done their G2 whatever. You got what is it? HTC's done their Vive and stuff like that. So I think Meta's going to run the market probably. I mean, they have the money and they're set for money. But I don't know. Maybe something will change. Maybe something will come out about Meta, and or maybe like, down with Meta, and you know, go to this headset. I don't know though. It's the industry is definitely, if it keeps going how it is right now, it's going to be, I think, probably the next big thing, as opposed to, you know, it was console gaming, then PC gaming. Now I think VR gaming is going to be the next.
And what do you think about AR?
Alternate reality. I don't know. I haven't had much experience of it myself. Most I've done is like playing Pokemon Go and turning on the AR feature and just throwing the ball. You know, it's fun, but I haven't had much experience with it. Obviously, I know they have like glasses now that, you know, show you like where to walk and stuff like that, and I'm like, that's crazy. You know, that's mind blowing to me. I would never have thought. You know, I would have expected that maybe in 10 years from now, but not now. So like, I don't know. It's crazy to see stuff like that. So. I think the industry though, even if it doesn't necessarily stay like strictly like gaming related, I think the gaming aspect will always be there. But I think for the industry overall, it's gonna be interesting to see. I think it's gonna take off. I really do. So yeah.
Do you know about the NEUROLINKK, Elon Musk's chip?
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Would you have it?
Maybe. I would have to see what it actually provides, though.
Well, if it was offered to you for free, like say I don't know how much it actually costs. Say it costs like 10 grand for everyone else. Right. But they say, ZeGunslinger, here you go. Would you take it?
Oh man. I don't know, because like as much as like I love privacy and whatnot, like I know anything we do nowadays is not private. Right. So you could be the most private person in the world. Most you would get is like if you destroyed all of your electronics and went off the grid, but even then, God knows some agency out there is probably tracking you. Yeah, why not? You know, why not?
Take it.
Yeah, why not? You know, there's got to be some benefit to it, right? You know, might be mind control, but I mean, screw it.
The most common answer is yes, I want it, but not yet. Most people say let like 1,000 people do it first.
I think that would have to be
alive?
me.
They're still alive? Yeah, cool.
I think that would have to be me. I'd have to see.
Yeah, let someone else do it first.
I would have to see, you know, how it works on other people, because
But you're a yeah. If it was binary, yes or no, you're a yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Appreciate you, man. This has been Top of the Pop. Money Mitch 26 with ZeGunslinger, the first ever IRL in real life episode I've ever done. I hope I've been in shot this whole time. But that's it. We'll see you guys next time.